Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! Taylor gets this one out towards center field to the short porch, and it's a grand slam! That's a floater, out to short, and it's booted off the shortstop's glove! Just like they drew it from Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! Grant Fournier, 2-run shot to right.
And then we welcome you to Alcyon Park on this Saturday morning for cross-conference baseball in the Joe Lang Classic in the first round. We've got the Cinnaminson Pirates and the GCIT Cheetahs facing off in cross-conference play. We're going to give you starting lineups and first pitch in just a moment. Right after this, as we've got, ground rules behind the plate with Coach Rob Eppley and Alex Ingian. All right, sorry about that quick interruption, folks. We've got the Cinnaminson Pirates and the GCIT Cheetahs here in the first round of the Joe Lang tournament. It'll be a quick turnaround for two of these teams, as the one that falls today will go back to the Joe Lang field at the JV field for Pittman High School, and they'll play their consolation game. Meanwhile, the winner will stay here and have a very quick turnaround in Game 2 for the championship game. And they'll face the Pittman Panthers, who beat Gateway last night 4-0 to secure a bid in the final. Starting pitcher for GCIT today is the right-hander Zach Hahn. Meanwhile, Cinnaminson will go with their trusty right-hander, Anthony Melchior. Young lineups for both of these teams, Jake, and we are joined by Jake Clark today in the booth for Game 1 as a good matchup between two teams who don't have any history with each other, but should have a good game nonetheless.
And it should be a good game, and I mean, you see the records on your screen. Cinnaminson 8-4 compared to GCIT 3-6. They're having two very different seasons and looking for very different things in this game. If Cinnaminson's able to come out and win here, they'll get win number 9 and cruise right along and keep good momentum. And GCIT looking to play a little bit of spoiler and sneak into the final where they'll play against Pittman.
Absolutely, and one of the things that I think is important about this game is that GCIT won the whole tournament last year. They know what it's like to be here, they know what it's like to win, and they know what it's like to have a successful program. But I think also two teams in very different predicaments, but also in very different conferences. The Tri-County Royal is a very unforgiving division. You've got your Clearview, Kingsway, Gloucester Catholic, even Williamstown is having a decent year this year. So it's difficult to get ahead. The overall record might not actually be a great reflection of who GCIT has played this year and the talent that they possess. But Cinnaminson, after the coin flip, will be the road team today. And again, they'll face Zach Hahn, who's got a sub-1 ERA this season. It should be a good one. GCIT is going to get ready to take the field, and we will take one more break just before we have starting lineups and first pitch in just a moment. Zach Hahn is the right-hander this afternoon, or I should say this morning, here at Alcyon Park. Let's take a look at what Zach Hahn's got to offer this season. The junior right-hander with 13 innings, just a 0.54 ERA, 13 strikeouts, and 6 walks. And it should be a good night. I mean, they're not having the Notre Dame commit, Andrew Valet, on the hill, so I think things could work out a little bit differently as the first batter for Cinnaminson this morning in the first round of the Joe Lang Classic will be the catcher, Logan Hamill. Not too often you see a catcher batting in the leadoff spot, but Cinnaminson will try it today as they come into this one 8-4 and looking for a bid in the Joe Lang Championship later today. That one is down. We are underway 1-0. Two balls, no strikes to Hamill. That time got the strike called. And it's 2-1. He'll be followed by the DH, Anthony Alessandroni. And that one is down. So a very good start here for Logan Hamill, the catcher, as he's in a hitter's count, 3-1.
Just hasn't really been challenged here by the pitcher on the mound.
Well, now he does. Dribbler out to short, picked up, fired to first. It's high, can't get the tag down, and Hamill will be safe. He'll get in there without issue, and a little tough dribbler there, but now it gets Cinnaminson with a runner on for Alessandroni.
Not your prototypical 3-1 swing there in a hitter's count, but nevertheless gets on a wild throw there from the infielder, pulls the first baseman off the bag, and a leadoff base runner now for the Cinnaminson Pirates.
Cinnaminson in the BCSL Liberty Division went 14-9 last year under head coach Eric Teasdale, who stepped down, was replaced by Alex Ingian, the former assistant under Dan McMaster at Cherry Hill West. They started off the year with a 2-2 start, but now have won 5 of their last 6, including wins over some good teams. 2-1 over Delran, 6-2 over Woodstown, beat Burlington Township, and then also took down Olympic opponent Seneca yesterday. That ball is hit well in the left field. It's high, but it will stay in the ballpark. Will it stay in a glove? It will. Caught down the left field line, and GCIT picks up their first out on a screaming high fly ball. And that'll bring up the Richmond commit and shortstop Noah Harvey. Let's take a look at what Cinnaminson's got under their belt today with their starting lineups brought to you by Harper Driving School. You just saw Logan Hamill and Anthony Alessandroni. Harvey bats now. Gideon Crisp is the first baseman in the 4 spot. Jacob DeJoseph, the sophomore, at 3rd. Dylan McAndrews, the quarterback for Cinnaminson, is the center fielder, followed by Jude Zarnowski, Gavin Bobrek, and Luke Rittler. That one is away to Harvey. Harvey, a very special athlete, not just a Division I commit for Cinnaminson in baseball, but also a 1,000-point scorer in basketball. We saw him accomplish that mark in December of last year. And a strike called to the 3-hitter.
And a special athlete, going to do great things at Richmond. And no surprise here today that he's batting in a power spot, 3rd in this lineup.
Yeah, especially for a hitter-friendly park like Cinnaminson. You know, when you're back at home, it's definitely different than when you're at a neutral site game, and that kind of environment is turned on its head a little bit. As Harvey, the middle infielder, a .329 career hitter, 2 home runs this year, the first of his career actually, didn't have any home runs during his first 3 seasons, 69 hits, 210 at-bats, 56 walks, and a .462 slugging. That's going to hit him right in the shoulder. So 2 base runners for Cinnaminson, and with 1 out, good opportunity for the Pirates here as they bring up their number 4 man. Again, that being Gideon Crisp, the first baseman.
Well, and Hahn threw a breaking pitch that I don't think broke the way he wanted it to. Ended up clipping Harvey right in the box. Didn't even come close to crossing the plate, and now 2 runners on with just 1 away for the heart of this Cinnaminson order.
They'll be batting with the cleanup man Crisp versus the right-hander Hahn, who has 2 unearned runs and only 1 earned run on the campaign. A 0.54 ERA, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, in the open, as Hahn, again, you know, for Rob Eppley and the people down there at GCIT in Deptford Township, definitely an interesting, you know, kind of mojo here, because if you start Hahn now, that one misses up and away. I do like the strategy for the first round, because regardless of whether you win or not, I think they save Andrew Valet for Game 2, the Notre Dame commit, especially if they're going to be playing Pittman, which they will be if GCIT wins. That is going to be huge for a Group 1 lineup and a Notre Dame commit who hits low 90s with his fastball. Fouled into the parking lot. Count is 1-2 here.
Yeah, trying to save your best arm for the championship, but you have to get there first, and Hahn still gives you a great chance to do that as a sub-1 ERA and 13 innings pitched, as we talked about before. But this Cinnaminson lineup can hit. They have 8 wins, and that's not by mistake.
And I think that if GCIT loses this game and they have to play Gateway in the consolation game, I don't think they're going to throw Valet. I think they'll save their best arm, you know, to face Pittman rather than facing a Gateway team that is 3-7. Compared to a Pittman team that is now 10-5. Outside, that ball got dropped. Popoff couldn't find it. The ball skipped out in front of the mound. Hahn picked it up. Both runners will advance, and now Cinnaminson's got 2 runners in scoring position here in the top of the first.
Just a physical error right there by the catcher allows for 2 runners to now advance, both of them in scoring position on the pass ball. And with 1 away, a lot of ways that runner can from third can score, and a base hit will score that runner from second as well.
Yeah, this is not an easy spot for GCIT. 1 error in the field, 1 error behind the dish, even though it doesn't really go down in the scorecard that way, it'll go down as a passed ball. Not an easy pill to swallow here in the first. 2-2. That's going to skip away. Speaking of, that one will roll all the way to the front step of the Cinnaminson dugout. But both runners maybe wisely do hold. I don't know. Do you think they could have come home there, or maybe a little too early to test it?
With the way that ball kicked away, they probably would have had a good shot to try and advance. But I think still early in this game, don't want to give GCIT a free out, especially being this close to scoring position.
With the middle of your lineup, too. Crisp misses outside. Good call there right off the plate. And we've got the bases loaded for Jacob DeJoseph. We had him on our list as 2027 sophomores to watch. Had a great freshman season, lining up that middle infield combination with Noah Harvey, as the corners of the infield will creep in for GCIT and the Cheetahs. Here's the first pitch from Hahn. Outside, 1-0. I think Hahn getting a little frustrated here, just trying to work with a decently tight strike zone, and now trying to find a way to get through it. And with the bases loaded, I think he's just got to act like those runners aren't there. Just, what do the coaches say? Play catch with your backstop. Figure it out. 2-0 here.
Well, and for GCIT and Zach Hahn out on the mound, is now they're going to take a bit of a mound visit, the infielders and the catcher. But you have to remember that you're just a ground ball away from trying to get out of this jam. With the bases loaded, the double play is still in effect here. If you roll up a hard ground ball up the middle somewhere, you could be turning 2 and have a clean sheet through this first inning. Even though it looks bad out there right now with the bases loaded and the 5-hitter, they are just 1 pitch away from getting out scoreless.
Absolutely. DeJoseph, a .216 hitter this year, a little step back from his .286 freshman average. 11 RBIs last year. This year, 8 for 37, 7 RBIs and 5 walks. No extra base hit yet. Had 3 doubles and a homer in his freshman season. Strike called, 2-1. No score in the top of the first, if you're just joining us here from Alcyon Park. Cinnaminson, though, threatening with the bases loaded. They got an E6 to start the ball game off the bat of Hamill, then a fly out to left, and now a hit by pitch and a walk back-to-back. Here's the 2-1. Dribbled foul, or laced foul. It's a bit of an odd setting here today back at Alcyon Park. Usually, right where those traffic cones are in right center field is usually where we set up, but with the rain today, we made kind of an executive decision to say that we're going to be up in the press box, or at least back behind the plate, so that we could be protected from the rain without being stranded. It's 2-2. Hahn kicks and delivers. That one's going to skip away. Now Cinnaminson will break. They will score. The throw gets away as Hahn got crossed up, and Cinnaminson is on the board. Scoring is Hamill, and it's 1-0 Pirates. Yeah, I think the first time they were very conservative with that runner on third. Ball got away. This time the ball had the velocity so that it got away from pop-off quick enough, and now they lead 1-0, putting 2 runners again in scoring position with a full count for DeJoseph. Time called at the plate.
Well, and that's the second pass ball. I guess you could call that one maybe a little bit of a wild pitch.
It could be either or
but
in the
regardless,
official scorecard.
still gets away from the catcher behind the backstop. A run comes across the score, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but there hasn't been a hit in this inning.
There has not yet, unless the home scorecard called that E6 by Hamill a hit. We had it as an E6. We're not the official scorekeepers. The home book is, which would be GCIT, but high school scorekeeping is basically a shot in the dark. It's not like what you do with the Blue Rocks, Jake. It's not. It's not all that coordinated. Here's the 3-2. That one's fouled back towards the parking lot. A packed house here at Alcyon Park today. Little League events going on at 2 of the 3 fields behind us. You know, there's sometimes where we're here during the summer and this field is the only one being used, and there's other times where it feels like, you know, you can't find an inch of room to stand. So I like the fact that this park's being used very well despite the weather. Here's the 3-2. Another one fouled back.
And an excellent at-bat right now from DeJoseph, really fighting, working Hahn's pitch count up, and the starter already struggling a little bit, having to use more pitches in this at-bat to Jacob DeJoseph.
And as we said, DeJoseph, a sophomore, hit 286 as a freshman, 216 this year as a sophomore. Dribbles it up the third base line. That is a foul ball. Almost contact there between the runner, Harvey, and the third baseman for GCIT, that being, Michael Mason. He'll be leading off the bottom of the first. Bit of an interesting situation there. Almost got a collision, but they hang on. This will be pitch number 8 of the at-bat between the sophomore DeJoseph and the junior right-hander Hahn. There are some raindrops coming down this afternoon here from Alcyon Park. They started coming down around 10:30 before we got started, and now things are just a little bit different here. And there's strike 3. Beautiful curveball as a get back from Hahn, and DeJoseph is retired for the second out.
We've seen Hahn go to that curveball a couple times, struggled with the location earlier in this inning, but a beautiful 3-2 pitch to retire DeJoseph for a much-needed second out after already giving up 1 run.
Just showing good composure there, and that's always something that you need if you're a pitcher that's in a struggling situation. You need to find a way to lock down, as there's a ground ball out to second base, a high bounce, but the infield plays it well, and the inning is over. Limited damage for Zach Hahn, given the circumstances. He gets 6 men to the plate, and only 1 comes across on a wild pitch. We go to the bottom half of the first here in Alcyon Park at Pittman, 1-0 Cinnaminson. Anthony Melchior, the starter for Cinnaminson this afternoon, a 2.85 ERA for the junior. He's got 28 strikeouts, 19 2/3 this year, as he'll be facing the GCIT Cheetahs. And let's introduce their starting lineup this afternoon, as we'll see what they've got going forward here. As for GCIT, they'll start with Michael Mason at third base. Willie Popoff, yes, the brother of Tommy Popoff, is the catcher. Andrew Valet, the Notre Dame commit, is the first baseman. He'll be followed by the right fielder Phil Murphy, no relation to the governor, and Reed Murphy at short. Then you've got Ben Sumek. I apologize. Murphy will be in right field, and then there's two shortstops listed on there. I apologize. Then you've got Ben Sumek, Ethan Cerquoni, Vinny Rosas, and Nick Miller in left field rounding it out. Underway in the bottom half of the first inning here from Pittman. Cinnaminson got one run across on a wild pitch, and the count is 1-0. And that one is high. 2 balls, no strikes to Michael Mason. Does a little shimmy and gets back in the box. Mason, the junior, occupying third base today, a .303 hitter as a sophomore. Hasn't had the same stroke of luck this year, but Coach Eppolite still believes in him in the top of the lineup. A .197 career hitter, but went 10 for 33 as a sophomore with 8 RBIs. Count is 2-1. Strike here, 2-2. Had some beautiful weather last night. 73 degrees for what was our 500th broadcast on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. So today will be 5:01 and 5:02 with the 2 games today. As 2-2. Fouls back off the apparatus. Normally, by this point in the game, we do a cinematic shot of the Alcyon Park press box, but, well, we're in it. So I have to find different ways to make cinematic shots in between innings. But count is 2-2 to Michael Mason. He'll be followed by the catcher, Willie Popoff.
We're seeing Melchior, a couple breaking balls, and now time is called. Have to wonder if he's going to change locations and velocities and go with the fastball upstairs or inside.
Certainly that would be a good wild card for Melchior to start off this inning the right way, as he does get a fastball. It's away, and Mason wavers at it nonetheless. First out of the bottom half, as this will bring up Willie Popoff, who's done great for himself at GCIT. At the moment, uncommitted, but would imagine that status will change soon. The junior backstop batting second, a .400 career hitter, .414 this year. 12 for 29, 5 RBIs, batted .423 as a sophomore. And as we mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, the younger brother of Tommy Popoff, who is a freshman at Binghamton, the Division I program, and graduate of Kingsway. 0-1. That ball is smoked out to right field, headed down the line. It is a foul ball by a hair over towards the 310 sign.
Well, Popoff just a little late on that pitch there. Good piece of hitting, but just has to speed up that bat and bring it into foul ground.
Yeah, I think in this situation here, you know, you're talking about a hitter-friendly ballpark. It's 310 down the lines, and then you've got 365 to center field. With the wind, ball's probably going to stay in the yard today. They're going to say he went around. Not surprised at all there. The entire Cinnaminson team was like, what are you talking about? It's back-to-back strikeouts. Mason and Popoff go down on strikes, and now GCIT will have their third hitter of the ball game, Andrew Valet. Again, as we mentioned, the commit to Notre Dame, as still a junior in the 2025 season. He'll be headed there in 2027, a .313 career hitter. And this season, 8 for 29, 2 RBIs, and a .345 slugging percentage.
Well, and for the man on the mound in Melchior, picks up strikeout number 30 with those back-to-back Ks here in the first.
That ball's hit up the middle. That'll be a base hit. And a nice knock for Valet, his 9th of the season, and now GCIT, shockingly enough, has the first hit of the game, considering how much Cinnaminson did in the top half of the first. That's the first hit from either side, and now that brings up the cleanup man, Phil Murphy, the right fielder, or rather the second baseman. So Murphy, he'll be followed by Reed Murphy with a runner on first and 2 down after back-to-back Ks. One ball, no strikes.
Yeah, Valet with a false start over at first base. Broke like he was going to go, then pumped the brakes, just trying to play a little bit of mind games with this Cinnaminson defense.
And we see that a lot here in high school, mind games. Just sometimes because that's what you got to do. Sometimes the physical element isn't enough to satisfy what the coaches need. And, you know, I see that a lot. We see the steal and score a lot where the runner breaks for second and then a runner from third breaks for home. You don't really see that in the major leagues because they've figured it out by then. But the high school players, they can definitely be a little bit more vulnerable. We saw, I want to say it was Haddon Township and Gloucester on Thursday. Yeah, actually, no, I'm sorry. It was Seneca and PVI. 2 of the first runs of the game scored on steal and scores, as I like to call them. But the count's 2-1 here for Melchior. Outside, no, gets a good frame, and it's 2-2. A little bit favorable that time, but Murphy now with a 2-2 count, as he'll look to tie up the game here for GCIT, and looking to keep the wheels turning for the Cheetahs here in the bottom half of the first.
And now Murphy really hugging the inside part of the plate.
Maybe trying to get a fastball to run in and hit him. I've seen that before. Kyle McSorley of RCSJ, he's done that like a champ. He's got like 23 hit by pitches this year just because he crowds over that back corner of the plate and finds a way to excel with that. If he doesn't hit a home run, he's getting plunked.
Well, I think it's also just to force Melchior to go outside. He went outside earlier in this at-bat.
This time it's high, and Phil Murphy takes a free pass. That'll be a walk to bring up Reed Murphy, the right fielder. It's now GCIT with a little bit of life in the bottom of the first. 2 on, 2 out, and after back-to-back strikeouts, things looked a little different, but we'll see what happens.
And a good at-bat there from Phil Murphy to draw the walk and get on base and extend the inning. And now a runner in scoring position, and the Cheetahs are looking to potentially tie this game with Valet standing off of second.
Swing and a miss, 0-1. 7, 8, and 9 will bat for Cinnaminson in the top half of the second. It'll be Zarnowski, Bobrick, and Rittler. Is, well, a tough first inning for Zach Hahn, but now, well, GCIT on the offensive side returning the favor. Here's the 0-1 to the left-hander, Reed Murphy. Scrapes inside that time. Murphy backs out.
And Melchior is trying to hit that outside corner to a right-hander, inside to a left-hander. He's trying to work that part of the plate regardless of who's up at the dish. And the GCIT hitters are trying to force him to work outside. He does there.
Strike called, 1-2. Two on, 2 out, 2 strikeouts in the bottom half of the first, as we'll see what Cinnaminson has in the tank. That's a fly ball, left field line, and foul over towards the batting cage. Yeah, Cinnaminson 1 run on no hits so far. GCIT got 1 off of the bat of Valet in the bottom half of the first. Back-to-back strikeouts and then back-to-back base runners. A walk and a single. Now sets the stage for Murphy. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Melchior still working through the motions here. Looks back and the pitch. Got jammed left field side. Just barely out of play.
This is a real quality at bat out of Reed Murphy here. Down in the count with 2 strikes. He fouls off a couple pitches to the opposite side.
I've seen a lot of quality at bats today, even in the first inning. Cinnaminson had a few. GCIT has had a few. I mean, listen, you know, game time was 27 minutes ago, and we're still in the first inning. It's not that it's been a snooze fest. There's just been a lot of good at-bats. That ball's hit well out to center field. Off the bat of Murphy, backpedaling and making the catch right in front of the state champ sign. is the center fielder, and the inning is over. So Cinnaminson leaves 2 runners on for the Cheetahs, and after 1 here in the first round of the Joe Lang Classic, it is the Pirates 1 and GCIT and the Cheetahs 0.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Top of the second here from Alcyon Park. We've got the Cinnaminson Pirates up 1 over GCIT. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, you could book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman at 614 Lambs Road. No more than 2 minutes from this field. If you're headed off of 55, you make a right at the light, you go straight, it'll be on your right, and then you pass by it, you make a left at the stop sign, and where are you at? Alcyon Park. Swing and a miss, 0-2. As Cinnaminson sent 6 men to the plate in the top half of the first. Zarnowski, Brabeck, and Rittler are due up as a tapper over the third baseline gets past Mason and foul. Some quality at-bats here, as we were talking about in the bottom of the first. I think it's very important for these two teams with no prior experience against each other. You know, Alex Ingham was talking to his team before the game, and he said, this is a very important game for us, a big chance to make a statement, and he's right. I mean, you know, GCIT is 3-6, but they know where they come from. They come from possibly the toughest division in all of South Jersey, the Tri-County Royal, with Gloucester Catholic, Kingsway, Clearview, even Williamstown and Washington Township are having decent years. So even a team that's 3-6, it's kind of like watching a 3-6 SEC team. They can still beat really good teams every single day of the week. Swing and a miss there for Hahn's second strikeout at the hands of Zarnowski. And now Bobrek will be the batter for the Pirates.
And Hahn looks a lot more comfortable after that first inning where he wasn't getting that breaking ball to move like he wanted. Now having an excellent job mixing in the fastball and the breaking pitches. Seems comfortable here in the second.
Agreed there. First pitch is a strike. We will keep you updated on the weather. Some harder rains are starting to come in. As that ball is hit out towards right, it's going to drop, and it'll get past the right fielder. On his horse, getting the second, has to get around a base runner, and he is out. No. They're going to send the runner to first because that's the right call. I think there was interference on the play. The umpires noticed that immediately. The Cinnaminson runner, Bobrek, had to get around the first baseman who was kind of standing in his way. Valet was just kind of up there, and Eppolite not happy about the call.
Absolutely.
But that's the right call.
Absolutely, because Crisp got in the way while the runner...
It was Valet, GCIT. So Bobrek... Actually, no, they're going to hold him at second. They're actually going to call him safe. They're going to award him the base. Because I think with interference, you get an extra base.
So now the field umpire just has to get into his correct position.
Yeah, the field umpire was at first base for a runner on second. But no, I think what it was is that it was a single, and then the runner is awarded second base because of the interference. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what the ruling is. However, Cinnaminson will take advantage of it, and they're going to get the runner to third. Popoff unable to get the throw off. And just like that, Cinnaminson's got a runner at third base.
And Cinnaminson has taken advantage time and time again, still early in this game, but a lot of good dirt ball reads, a lot of excellent jobs moving up on pass balls. Another example of it right there as Zarnowski moves up from second to third.
No doubt. Rittler takes a strike, 1-1.
Excuse me, that was Bobrick that moved up on the pass ball.
Yeah, Rittler, 185 hitter this year as a senior, 5 for 27. That one is caught at first base. Valet down on one knee. And that is the second out of the second, as we'll go back to the top of the order for Hamill.
And just a weak line drive. Rittler looked late on it, hit it right to Valet over there at first, an easy catch, and now the infield can breathe a little bit, play back at their normal depths with 2 outs here in the top of the second.
Absolutely. Here's the first pitch. Hit out towards right center field, got some distance to it, but coming down with it, and the catch is made to retire the side. So making the final out of the top half of the second will be the center fielder, Vinny Rosas. And after 1.5, a controversial call turns out to not have too much bite to it. 1-0 going to the bottom half here in Pittman. Bottom of the second here in Alcyon Park. 1-0 Cinnaminson. They left a runner on third after a bit of a controversial call, but yeah, got some good stuff going around here today. There is some rain on the way and maybe some worse rain behind us. Not as in behind us, but as in on the horizon. As the first batter for GCIT in the bottom half of the second will be Sumek, shortstop. 6, 7, and 8 for the Cheetahs.
And Melchior to this point pitched pretty well, but gave up a couple base runners with 2 outs. If you're the Pirates, have to hope that he can have a bit of a quicker inning.
Especially with the rain on the way. You know, the game is not official at this time, won't become official until the 5th inning. So if rain ends up being a bigger factor, first of all, you have the lights, so they can have this later on at night. But if the rain is as bad as they say it will be, then they're probably not going to play tonight. They'll probably play tomorrow, which would knock out our Trenton Thunder game. But you can probably see right now, there's a good view of it, the rain that's coming down. Luckily, up here in the press box, we are 90% dry, but we're going to talk about some out-of-town scores that have been popping up from yesterday and today, as the count is very quickly 3-0 to Sumek. Again, first 3 batters will be Sumek, Cerquoni, and Rosas, 6, 7, and 8. That one's up and in, a very quick 4-pitch walk here.
Well, a quick and easy first base runner there for GCIT. As Melchior, a pitcher that has strikeout stuff, as we talked about, 30 on the year now with the 2 back in the first, but now his 20th walk of the season, has the strikeout stuff, but the command isn't always there. And now, I mean, you can even see it on your screen, the rain affecting the field umpire a little bit. He's going to put on the jacket.
Yeah, I think that it's not going to be easy, I think, for these guys, especially because we've talked about, first of all, Jake, you played with Sterling. You know that in the rain, everything becomes twice as hard, especially if you're a pitcher. It's not going to be easy to grip the ball. It's not going to be easy to locate it where you want to. And especially with the conditions changing, the rain could get heavier and you have to adjust, and the rain could get lighter and you have to adjust. That's 5 of the last 6 pitches that have been balls, and none have been really that close to the zone. So we really don't know what we're going to see here until it happens.
Well, and this is now a good opportunity with a pitcher who looks a little bit rattled now to try and score some runs for GCIT.
There's a swing and a miss. 1 and 2. Some out-of-town scores from yesterday. Absegami came back to be Overbrook 3-2 in the Coaches versus Cancer opener. In the Delaney Classic down in Clayton, Penn Tech beat Leap Academy 7-0. There's a swing and a miss there. Audubon picked up a championship down in Myrtle Beach for their spring break trip, beating Carolina Forest of South Carolina 11-2. Haddon Heights beat Gateway yesterday morning 17-2. Morristown beat PVI in a Olympic Conference contest 6-2. Florence beat Trenton in a Colonial Valley Conference and a BCSL crossover 10-6. Meanwhile, Maple Shade, who is 5th in South Jersey Group 1 Power Points, beat Riverside 6-0. Cherokee shut out Burlington Township 7-0. Bordentown beat Pennsauken 7-2. Rancocas Valley beat Clearview 14-10 down at Margate. As now the runner goes. Throw down to second is not in time. And as we wrap up our out-of-town scoreboards from yesterday, just one more that we want to make note of in South Jersey versus Central Jersey. Haddonfield fell to Allentown, another CVC team, 11-0. We have one score update for now in the top half of the 3rd inning. Eastern leads Sterling in the Camden County Championship, 7-3. So a stolen base for Sumac, and a very quick 2-0 count as Cinnaminson in a little trouble here. That one is down. It's 3-0. Wonder if that command is really getting to him here in the second.
Well, definitely the command is not where it was in the first. I mean, struck out the first 2 batters. Looked like it was going to be a quality start here from Melchior, but the command now shaky and a runner in scoring position with just 1 away. GCIT has a perfect opportunity to get right back in this game.
And that time, a good strike there. Sometimes you need to dip your velocity down and just focus on command. I've heard coaches say all the time, I don't care if you can throw 100 miles an hour if you can't find the strike zone. There's signs that I've seen at multiple different locations that say, I don't care how fast you throw ball 4, and I think that that is a good philosophy to look at here. Ooh, strike called. I don't know why he tossed his bat. That looked like a good strike to me, but it's 3-2.
Yeah, definitely on the inside part of the plate those past couple of pitches, and now a full count. And when you walk out of the batter's box like that, your zone gets a whole lot bigger. So definitely anything close going to have to protect here with a full count.
Does not gain you any favorability, let's just say that. Throw back to second, not in time. Still a full count. GCIT looking to get multiple runners on as they get into the bottom of the order. Rosas, the center fielder, is on deck. And another step off, not in time.
Yeah, neither of the middle infielders going to second base, but Melchior just trying to keep the runner a little honest over there while he's in scoring position.
Already back-to-back pickoffs here. The 3-2. That skips in. That'll be a full count walk to Sequoni. And that is the 3rd free pass allowed today, as both Cinnaminson and GCIT had a lot of at-bats in the first inning. Cinnaminson batted 6 in the top half. GCIT got 5 up in the bottom half, but did not score. As now another step off for Miller now.
Yeah, Melchior stepping off the rubber, using... There's no disengagements here in this one, but
no, there's no rule on that.
Definitely using or stepping off at will.
Keeping him waiting longer than Shadur Sanders. Strike called. 0-1. Miller, the 9-hitter, after Rosas walked, one away in the bottom half of the second. But 2 runners on for the Cheetahs. That one is laced foul towards the parking lot.
And while Melchior, the command, has struggled this inning, this is a nice bounce back at bat for him here, just going right at the hitter, getting ahead in the count now 0-2, and well into the driver's seat in this at bat.
Yeah, Cinnaminson trying to get some control back here. They're trying to get their mojo back and try to find a way to keep GCIT off the board here in the rain. That one is high, 1-2. Yeah, very grateful to the folks, John Hopley, Ron Myers, Grant Shivers, the athletic director, for having us up here in the press box today, and also the field director, Montana Millward, for allowing us to be up here, because we'd be in the tent otherwise downstairs, and it's just a little bit more pleasant up here, even though it's quite muggy outside. 2-2. So Miller will be followed by the third baseman, Mason. But after this, the lineup card will turn back over to the top. Two balls, 2 strikes, and 2 on for GCIT. Outside, just off the plate, and it's 3-2.
Not a bad miss from Melchior there.
Not
if you
bad at
want
all.
to miss, you miss away. Try and get the hitter and Miller to chase just off the outside corner, and now a full count for the 9-hitter.
Miller dealing with 2 on, now a throw back to first. Interesting appeal there. They appealed a balk. Can't say I've seen that before, because the home plate umpire stepped out to ask the second base umpire if he properly stepped off, which we have seen a handful of balks being called this year, but it's been interesting to see those 2 umpires communicating together to make sure that they're on the right page. They've been calling a very good game so far in terms of getting the rules right. There's a swing and a miss. Big K for the right-hander Melchior, picks up his third. And now there's 2 away for Mason, the third baseman.
Well, the big strikeout there for Melchior out on the mound, giving up a couple more base runners, but starting to tighten things up, and picks up a punch out for the second out of the inning.
And now they'll try to find a way to get out number 3, as here in the bottom half of the second. Strike is called. 0-1.
A good pitch to get ahead in the count. If Melchior can do that throughout this game, he should find himself being successful. Getting ahead and staying ahead would be ideal here for the Pirates.
I mean, he's got the strikeouts. He's got the pitching. I mean, he's ahead in the count 0-2 right now, but just seems like that control can be just a little bit best of him. But the rain has mostly stopped here, knock on literal wood. So we'll have to see if his command gets better with that. 0-2. Oh, misses outside. Something with Cinnaminson brings the rain. We were supposed to cover Cinnaminson on April 4th versus Burlington Township. That got rained out. We were supposed to cover them versus Sterling on April 12th. That got rained out. And now we're here 13 days later, and they're playing, but it's raining. 1-2. Outside. And here we go again, 0-2 count, and then one didn't hit, and then another one was pretty far outside that time. He's just got to settle in and pretty much just attack the strike zone a little bit better. That's the only quality that's preventing him from running away with this one.
He's doing a nice job of getting ahead in counts, but then trying to work around the hitters in the box once he has 2 strikes, trying to get them to chase outside the zone for the swing and miss. But GCIT hasn't really bitten on stuff outside today.
And they don't bite there. 3-2. If he walks Mason with the bases loaded, could see Willie Popoff batting, who struck out in his first at-bat. Again, if you remember in the first, Cinnaminson had back-to-back strikeouts with Melchior, and then a walk and a single interrupted things a little bit, but they got out of it unscathed. And GCIT definitely doesn't want to leave those base runners on. That one's popped out of play. The count is still 3-2. They will have left, if they do not score here, 4 base runners in 2 innings. That is not a good feeling if you're Rob Eppley, just because you do not want to leave those opportunities. You don't want to leave any stone unturned. And in this situation, with a tournament championship on the line, or at least a championship bid on the line. Don't want to see that happen. 3-2. That is up and in, over the head of Miller. Make that now 4 walks for Melchior. In a bit of a tough situation here, because if you're either of these teams, you have to conserve your pitching. Neither of these guys are throwing the player with the most innings here in the first round, because they immediately have to turn around and throw somebody else in game 2. Whether it's at the JV field across town or whether it's here, they still have to conserve their pitching. So Cinnaminson and GCIT, I think, will be both very stringent or very lenient on the bullpens today. In the second game, you can run wild because you don't have anything after that. But in game 1, because you have an immediate turnaround of only 30 or 40 minutes, you don't want to have that conundrum. You want to make sure that those guys are settled.
And there is some action in the Cinnaminson bullpen down the right field line.
Yeah, got some guys stretching down there. Looks like number 13 down there looking at getting some throws in for the Pirates. Hit well in the center field, going backpedaling, and making the catch. 5 base runners left on in 2 innings, and Cinnaminson, by the skin of their teeth, gets out of it. Through 2, it is 1-0 Pirates.
Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
Through 2 here at Alcyon Park, first round of the Joe Lang tournament, 19th annual. We've got Daniel Tyanoff warming up in the pen for the Pirates. But here in the top of the 3rd, we started off still with Zach Hahn on the mound, as it'll be 6 men at the dish for GCIT in the top half. Left the bases loaded. Hit well down the left field line, but foul.
And that was a big swing right there by the hitter, but just out in front of that pitch, sent it way foul down the left field line for the first strike.
Yeah, Allison Droney, no stranger to the long ball. Hit one on opening day in 2024 versus Bordentown, over at Bordentown. Allison Droney, the senior, misses high. And 3 home runs as a junior, 1 this year, hit it versus Woodstown at the very hitter-friendly Woodstown Park in a 6-2 win there, batting .179 in his swan song campaign. But a career .267 hitter, popped up Actually hit pretty well, though, at the center field. And under it to make the catch is Rosas. First out.
And that one was skied high out into center, and Rosas out in center just drifted a little bit to his left. Looked like he had it lined up, kept drifting, and then was able to find a spot and make the catch for the first out of the inning.
And now here's Harvey. Harvey, still the 3-hitter for Cinnaminson, gets a strike called on the outside corner. 0-1. Harvey was hit by a pitch in his first at-bat. Did not come around to score. He was the last runner left on, as both teams have left multiple runners on in this one. A lot of missed opportunities, just for both teams. I feel like this score will be a lot higher if, everything went their way. But in baseball, a lot of times things don't go your way. And in this case, it's just a battle of, who gets the better break, because both of these teams are relatively even in terms of their talent level. Their records may look different. Cinnaminson 8-4, GCIT 3-6. But as we said, they've played wildly different schedules. A lot of them do not have the same mutual opponents as we would expect. 1 ball, 2 strikes from Hahn. And a foul tip retires Harvey. Strikeout number 3 for the right-hander and the junior. And very quickly, 2 down in the third.
Well, 2 up, 2 down so far. A pretty quick inning here for Hahn on the mound, which is exactly what you need if you're GCIT, as they have the 3, 4, and 5 hitters due up. Want to have a quick inning here with your starter out on the mound.
And now it'll be Crisp. So Crisp, the batter. Cinnaminson has 1 hit on the game, and that was on a hit by Bobrek that went down the right field line, and he advanced to second on an interference call. But their 1 run came on a passed ball in the top of the first, and we haven't had anything since. So count, though, is 0-1. Very quickly to Crisp, who walked in his first plate appearance. Another one there, 0-2.
And you mentioned the score and the missed opportunities, but I think it also goes to show how well these pitchers have done, both starters, under pressure with their backs against the wall.
Absolutely. Fouled back, right side. Still 0-2. Crisp to be followed by the sophomore Jacob DeJoseph if the inning continues. Hahn very quickly goes and lines it out to second base, and no doubt about that one. Right into his glove, and the inning is over. We are going to the bottom of the third here at Alcyon. Still 1-0 Pirates. No budgers here. Bottom of the third here at Alcyon Park. Cinnaminson 1, GCIT 0. Cheetahs will look to change that, though, as a clean top half of the first. Got 3 men up and 3 men down. Hot shot out to third. It's a high bouncer, fair ball, and it's in time. Good play over at third by Harvey to bring that one in, as that one hugged the foul line but just stayed over the chalk. And Andrew Valet is retired for the first out of the third. So now here will be the first of the Murphy brothers, Phil, to be followed by Ryan Murphy. This game could very well turn into a pitcher's duel, even with the changing conditions. I mean, you know, both pitchers really haven't had the cleanest sheet in terms of walks and all of that. But in terms of hitting and in terms of runs, I mean, look, bottom of the third, 1-0 game. It's a good resilience here, even against the odds.
Yeah, not your most conventional pitcher's duel with a lot of base runners on, but they haven't come across the score, just the one back in the top half of the first. Very well could be an unorthodox pitcher's duel, so to speak.
1-1 is the count. I mean, listen, if GCIT executes what they need to do and they don't leave 5 runners on in 2 innings, that will put them in a lot better of a position. They just have to get home and score, hit where it matters most. That's outside. I mean, listen, they've been good on plate discipline. They've walked 4 times. But I can't sit here and say that, you know, they've had a completely perfect record because they're off the board, but they had the bases loaded at one point in the ball game, and now they're going to try to get some of that back. Strike called there to Murphy. 2-2.
A really nice breaking pitch there from Melchior to freeze Murphy. Don't think he saw that one coming, and now 2-2 your count.
Fouled back. Murphy, a .321 hitter. 9 for 28, .464 slugging. A career .302 hitter across 2 full seasons. Had a handful of late season at-bats in 2023, but batted .289 as a junior in his first full season last year. 2 balls, 2 strikes from Melchior. Again, still, well, Cinnaminson's right-hander left the bullpen. That ball is a foul ball. But we did have the Cinnaminson right-hander warming up for a little bit there, Daniel Tyanoff. However, he has since left, which could very well mean that he could be coming in soon, or it could mean that they just have him on standby in case Melchior starts to run into some trouble. Because they got him up there early. They got him up there in the 2nd inning.
Well, and again, probably longer leashes for these starters trying to save everybody for that potential championship game.
Well, even if you are in the championship game, or even if you aren't in the championship game, you still have to reserve them because no matter what, no matter who you are, you're going to be playing 2 games today. The only team that isn't playing 2 games today is Gateway and Pittman. Gateway is going to be setting up their consolation game after this. They'll be getting here at like 12:30, and then Pittman will do the same. They'll show up here, and they'll find a way. Popped up. This one will go out of play and out onto the roundabout there. GCIT's dugout getting excited. All up on the rail there. Count is still 2-2. Handful of foul balls back-to-back for Murphy. And again, this game has mostly been defined by quality at-bats, and that's always what you want to see. Even in a 1-0 game, both pitchers are getting their counts worked up and making the right-handers on both sides just a little bit uncomfortable. But Murphy, who walked in his first at-bat, working with a 2-2. Slider away. Count is full.
And the GCIT dugout is excited right now, but they haven't had much to get excited about, trying to swing momentum their way and be just willing their guys, cheering their guys on.
And 3-2 outside. That is the 5th walk allowed by Melchior this afternoon, and now he's trying to settle in. Like we said, there's only 2 hits today. One for Valet and then one for Cinnaminson, and that's all we've got. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys settle in because both teams right now seem to be playing some scrappy baseball. For better or for worse, it's been that way.
And 5 free passes, and he still hasn't allowed a run. Goes to show you how well the defense is playing behind him.
Correct. That's a dribbler foul. A final score came in from the Roseboro tournament at Collingswood. The host, Collingswood, beat Glassboro 4-2. think another interesting thing, just talking about Cinnaminson, they got put in a weird situation because they're in Central Jersey Group 2 this year for PowerPoints. So they won't be playing their typical opponents. They're the 3 seed right now, and the 1 and 2 ahead of them are nowhere near Cinnaminson. Governor Livingston, which beat Seneca back-to-back years in the Central Jersey Group 2, I apologize, in the Group 2 state semis. It was the same rematch back-to-back years. There's a ground ball out to second. This could be 2, 4, 6. Throw is high, and he got pulled off the bag. He's safe. So it'll be a 4-6 fielder's choice, but the call does stand at first. And now out number 2 here in the third.
And that keeps the door open now for GCIT. If you're Melchior, you did exactly what you were asked. Rolled up a ground ball and an easy one right at the second baseman. But the throw from the shortstop just a little off the mark, and the door is still open here for GCIT with 2 away.
Absolutely. Going into today, Cinnaminson again the 3 seed, Bordentown in 4th. If the season ended today, Cinnaminson would play the number 14 seed Allentown Redbirds in the Colonial Valley Conference at home. There's actually 4 BCSL teams represented in Central Jersey Group 2. Willingboro is dead last in 20th. They're 0-7. Delran at 7-4. They're in 10th. Bordentown 4, and then Cinnaminson 3. Time called here, as it's a 2-0 count. A very slow infield meeting starting to commence. And then, for South Jersey Group 4, GCIT at the moment is actually the 14 seed. They would play 3 seed Kingsway if the season ended today, which is a divisional opponent. Cherokee and Eastern, to the surprise of no one, are 1-2. Then you've got Howell in the Shore Conference at 8-5, Millville at 5, Central at 6, Vineland at 7, and then Egg Harbor at 8. 9 through 12 is Lenape, RV, Toms River North, and Cherry Hill East. And then 13 through 16 is Southern, GCIT, Williamstown, and Atlantic City. 2 balls, no strikes to Sumek, the shortstop. That one is high. 4th batter of the frame for GCIT is, well, we're already 1.5 rotations through the batting order, and we're still in the bottom of the 3rd. Things are looking good here. I mean, it's good if you like walks and hit by pitches, but we've seen an interesting ball game today. That will be a 4-pitch walk to Sumek. Make that number 6. Indians still in the dugout for Cinnaminson. And now that puts 2 runners on. And, well, right on cue, here comes Alex Indian. So, correct me if I'm wrong, because, Jake, you played for 4 years at Sterling. This would be the first official mound visit, and the meeting where the coach does not come out, and it's just an infield meeting, is where you can you have to make the. So first of all, if the coach comes out twice in the same inning, you have to make the change. I know that much, but I think if it's just the infield talking and the coaches don't come out, then the pitcher doesn't have to come out of the game in this instance.
That is correct, because if the infielders meet, it's not a technical mound visit, as you mentioned, but now that the head coach comes out of the dugout, this will be Cinnaminson's first of the inning. So one more time in this inning, and they would have to pull Melchior. But again, a couple walks back to back there, and or not the walk, but the error and then
right.
the walk. So 2 base runners get on, now 2 outs. And again, GCIT with another runner in scoring position, but 2 away. They're going to have to look for a base hit hard in the outfield to try and score that runner from second and tie this game. They've had the chances. They really have. 6 free passes with walks, and then a couple more hit by pitches, but they just have not been able to scratch across a run here today.
And now they've got Sequoni. 0 for 1 for him. As now 3 straight base runners have reached. Phil Murphy walked. Then the second Murphy grounded into a fielder's choice, and now another free pass for Sumek. First pitch, curveball, did not get the zone. 0-1.
Not a bad curveball there from Melchior on the mound. Just missed the zone and falls behind in the count.
And Rosas, the center fielder, will be next. That one is downstairs. 2-0. Just below the knees that time. I'm sure GCIT is liking the tighter strike zone. Helps to their advantage. And now finding a way to get some runs across, if they can just put the barrel to the bat, or barrel to the ball, they'll be in good business. Dan Haverstick likes to say, and I'm sure a lot of coaches like to say, there's another one, 3-0. Jeez. If you put the ball in play, good things will happen. And in this situation, it'll be good for them. However, again, if the 2 runners do get stranded for the Cheetahs, then they will be 7 total without a run. 7 left on base if they do not score. Strike called, and again, the bat flies out of the box before the batter does, before the call. Again, that will not gain you any favorability with the home plate umpire. If you want a call to go your way, 9 times out of 10, it won't. But the 3-1 on the way. That is high. No mistaking that one. That is 7. And again, you got to wonder if tying off is going to be waiting in the wings, because you've now got the bases loaded for Vinny Rosas, the center fielder. I mean, I understand it's the bottom of the 3rd, but I think in this situation, it makes it a very tough spot for Alex NJ in here. Bases loaded, 2 outs, but no runs are on the board, but you lead 1-0. A base hit could take that lead straight away from you. And if it's because a pitcher's left in too long, you don't want that to be the case. That time, no mistaking there. Strike called, 0-1.
Well, Melchior has gotten out of tough jams. As we've talked about, 5 runners left on base for GCIT. They have yet to score. And with the doubleheader being today, playing 2 games, trying to save those bullpen arms for game 2.
And it's 1-1. Yeah, I'm just liking what GCIT is doing here. They are kind of figuring out the game. They are not worried about, swings and misses. They are worried about taking the ball. They know that the guy doesn't have all that control as there's a fly ball down the line, foul. They get it. So if they can just get very good plate discipline, then hope that he throws enough to put them in trouble. Again, 2nd inning in a row that they have loaded the bases. And this would be 8 runners left on for GCIT if they don't score. And you got to imagine, if you're Rob Eppley, first 2 innings, maybe that can be a fluke. But if you leave the bases loaded twice in a row, that is not a situation that you want to be in at any means. Got a 1-2 count, though. And the pitch. Outside. 2-2.
That one was certainly close, and the Cinnaminson dugout
Had a
thought
little bit
that
of
was strike
hoots
3.
Hoots and hollers there. But Rosas walked in his first at-bat. And now Miller waits in the wings. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And the pitch. That's grounded out towards short. Picked up by DeJoseph. Throw to first is in time. And GCIT gets hit out of another jam. They've left 8 base runners on across the first 3 innings. And we go to the top half of the 4th here at Alcyon Park. 1-0 Cinnaminson. Top of the fourth inning here at Alcyon Park, 1-0 Cinnaminson. Cinnaminson got their first and only run of the day on a, on a free pass, on a passed ball that led to a free pass. But Cinnaminson has walked 7 batters today. It's 1-1.
And Dan, we talked about it a little bit in the break. GCIT leaving 8 base runners stranded and then getting 7 free passes. Cinnaminson has pretty much given them a runner in scoring position for free with hit by pitches and walks every inning of this game. And GCIT is just yet to convert.
Ground ball foul down the third base line.
Definitely have to be frustrating if you're in that Cheetahs dugout.
Oh, it's got to be very frustrating, especially for Coach Eppolite. You know, he's, again, one time leaving the bases loaded is frustrating enough. Doing it twice in a row. Oh, how about this? Line drive. They're going to, no, he's throwing it around the infield. They're going to throw him out at first. He's out. I have never seen that before. That is a 5-4-3 ground out because the third baseman thought he caught it. The home plate umpire said no. So he threw it around the infield and then got the out at first anyway because the batter thought he was out.
Yeah, the batter stopped. The third baseman thought
Everybody
he caught
stopped.
it, and it touched the ground, and so the ball went to second, and the second baseman able to get it to Valet over at first before the runner can reach base. Everything almost stopped there, like it was caught like a line drive.
But then the home plate umpire clarified. He said, no, that is a ball in play, which I think was the right call. I'm not sure, but appeal to first says yes, and it's 0-2. So that for DeJoseph will be scored a 5-4-3 ground out. I can't believe I'm writing that in my scorecard. It's 0-2. And the pitch. Ground ball out to first. Oh, he slips in the mud, in the dirt. And that will get a runner on. Not sure what you want to score that as because McAndrew will get on in a weird situation. This has been a weird inning. I'm going to mark it as a single because Valet slipped before he touched the ball, but he literally just got everything swept out from underneath him, like somebody pulled the magic carpet.
And that's why we talked about the weather not only affecting the pitchers, but the players in the field as well. As you saw it right there, Valet slipping. It's rained here in Pittman, New Jersey.
It rained overnight, and it also rained a little bit this morning. There's a ground ball foul down the third base line. With that being said, in the top half of the fourth, let's introduce our DWB Trivia Time question for today. Today's question is, who was the last team to sweep the World Series? Was it A, the 2008 Phillies over the Rays, the 2007 Red Sox over the Rockies, the 2019 Nationals over the Astros, or the 2012 Giants over the Tigers? The answer will be revealed in the bottom of the fourth inning.
That's a good question.
That's why I made it. Fouled straight back. Couple of foul balls, not from today, but they have become victims of the netting or of the, usually we don't get this good of a view. Those baseballs have been sitting there for a long, long time. At least since the Summer League. I think they come up every winter and knock them down. Another one fouled back towards the street.
And just when we thought the rain was going to stop, move the umbrella away, it starts coming back.
I said it too.
Just drizzles off and on here today in Pittman.
There's a swing and a miss, but the runner has to run to no, the batter is out because first base was occupied. But the runner is allowed to advance to second. Like we said, these guys have been making sometimes the umpires in this game get hit with very simple calls, but this game has been full of unusual calls. The play at third that got trapped, possibly. The batter out there, that's the correct call because when first base is occupied, no matter if the catcher drops it or not, unless there's 2 outs, the batter is automatically out. So that's a swing and a miss by Zarnowski, and there's 2 away for Bobrek.
Yeah, absolutely the correct call, but it allows for the runner on first to go to second. While first base was occupied, the batter is sent back to the dugout, but a runner in scoring position with 2 away here for Cinnaminson.
Now Bobrek will look to drive him home. There's a strike called on the outside corner, 0-2. What I like to say in that situation, same space, different place, where that ball was called a little bit differently when GCIT had the bat in their hand. But at the same time, you know, I've umpired I haven't umpired, but I know people who have umpired, like David Cohen, and he says it's not easy, and I get it. I don't dog on the umpires a lot. If it's an egregiously bad call, you know, I'll say something, but the umpires don't get the same respect that they really deserve. I mean, you know, we have some, what was that, Elizabeth and Union City got called off in the 7th inning because of a fight that broke out between players, and they just decided to call the game. Fly ball right field off the end of the bat for Bobrek, and making the catch in right to retire to side is Murphy. Cinnaminson leaves the runner on second base, and in an unusual top of the 4th, we go to the bottom half, still 1-0 Pirates.
Hi there to all the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting.
2 minutes remaining. 4 fouls on St. Joe's. 1 more and it's a bonus, which would greatly help Gloucester Catholic. The moving green guard! It's a 1-point game just like that! This place is going nuts! And now a drive to the basket by Spross. He lays it up and lays it in. St. Joe's has 2 timeouts remaining. Gloucester Catholic still has 3. Here we go. Mascaro pulls up. He goes for 3. 6 points. Jack Mascaro has tied the game with 90 seconds remaining. How will the Wildcats respond with a miss of...
Bottom of the 4th inning, it's time for DWB Trivia Time here at the home of the 2010 state champions in not just baseball, but also in track and field, Pittman. Today's question in DWB Trivia Time is, who was the last team to sweep the World Series? Was it A, the 2008 Phillies, B, the 2007 Red Sox, C, the 2019 Nationals, or D, the 2012 Giants? As we do always on DWB, we have our partner in crime guess the answer to the question. Jake, what's your guess?
I'm going to have to go with D. I just have a gut feeling it was the Giants back in 2012.
Is it a gut feeling or did you know the answer? Because that is correct. The 2012 Giants took easy care of the Tigers that year in the World Series. The 2007 Red Sox did sweep the Rockies. However, they did not. They were not the last one. And then I believe 2019 actually went the full 7 games with Houston. I remember that series pretty well because every single game, all 7, were won by the road team. That kind of stinks for a World Series, to have a 7-game series, which is great, but every single time the home fans are dissatisfied because every time the team wins on the road. Starting off the top of the 4th as Pittman arrives to the ballpark. And a pop-up out to shallow right field, and it's caught out at second base by DeJoseph.
Well, not typically a play that the second baseman has to make, but a good job by DeJoseph ranging back to his left towards the foul line in right field, and he's able to come down and corral that one for the first out of the inning. But usually that's an easier play for the right fielder, but DeJoseph calling him off, saying, it's mine, and gets it.
That one's way up and into Miller, rather to Mason.
And I think if Mason wasn't squared to bunt there, that one could have got him for another hit by pitch, but because he was lower to the ground, it went over his head.
Ended up being a happy accident. Michael Mason has to drop back again.
Hey now, a little bit of chin music there, up and in with the fastball. has to back out of the way there.
What are we, Dave Sims? Hey now? Took the pizza with the pros to heart.
It's a great catchphrase.
It
is. I gotta say, it's fantastic.
It is excellent. I wish I had the vocal cord that he does. That's a free pass. That is 8 walks for Cinnaminson today. However, no runs. I mean, that's where this game feels like it's been turned on its head, is that Cinnaminson hasn't found the strike zone very well, but they haven't allowed any runs. So do we really knock GCIT for that? I don't know. But when you walk and when you get runners on, but you don't score, something isn't clicking. And for right now, it's just with 2 outs, things don't seem to work out. 2 runners on in the first. Murphy flew out to center field. Bases were loaded in the second. Popoff flew out to center field. Third inning, bases were loaded again, and Rosas grounded out to short. So somebody just needs to get the right spark at the right time because the positions are there. There's a base hit in the right off the bat of Popoff. That's the second hit by GCIT. And now, as we've mentioned before, as we've mentioned a million times over, we've got 2 on and 1 out.
Well, not a lot of offense to speak in this one. Just 1 run through these 2 teams, and now it looks like Melchior's day might be done.
Yeah, Alex Ingian coming out, first-year head coach here for Cinnaminson, taking over for Eric Teasdale, who stepped down after 4 years at the position. I think he may have been calling for the right-hander, and he will. So Melchior's day is done, but he will inherit those 2 runners, or at least I should say he will be responsible for those runners on first and second. However, the pitcher for Cinnaminson is not the one we thought it would be. Instead, for the Pirates, it's going to be number 23, Anthony Alessandroni, who was the DH, now coming in to pitch. And Alessandroni probably has the most innings of anybody on Cinnaminson this year, or at least he's high up there on the list, a very resilient 2-way player. So we'll get Alessandroni warmed up, and we'll be right back in just a moment after this.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Anthony Alessandroni is in. He's recently recorded his 100th inning. He's over 115 strikeouts. He's got 24 this year and a grand total of 116, a 2.65 career ERA. And this season, well, it's no different. 2.66 across 23 and 2/3, 7 walks, 9 earned runs, 3 hit batters. He's appeared in 4 games this year, Pennsauken, NBC, Delran, and another one versus NBC. So this is his first appearance in a non-conference game, but his first task will be Andrew Valet, the commit to Notre Dame. And 2 on and 1 away as GCIT now with their 9th and 10th base runners that they have not scored.
And Alessandroni, another guy that has strikeout stuff, is second in strikeouts on the mound behind Melchior, who was the starter today.
Correct.
So Cinnaminson going with their guys that can get punch-outs at will.
And that one will miss high, 2-0. So I think best situation here for GCIT, again, is stay patient. But you cannot expect Alessandroni to pitch like Melchior did. They're two very different pitchers. And he'll get a strike that time, 2-1. But if you're Valet in this situation, you can't think about the fact that Cinnaminson allowed 8 walks. You can't think about the fact that you don't have any runs on the board, because you can erase that with one swing. You can take the lead with one swing. You can tie the game. You can do a million different things in the box to get your team on the board. You forget about the past. You forget about the fact that you left 8 base runners on, because if you can change that, then you're going to be in a very good spot. And that's what GCIT wants. They want to erase that and forget all of that happened. 3-2 now. Valet, 1 for 2. He has a single in the first inning and a 5-3 groundout. Pokes this one. How about this? It drops into right field on a circus swing. Runners will all hold, and the bases are loaded now in the bottom of the 4th inning. What a swing by Valet. Kind of just swung it Hunter Pence style and just got the ball down. How about it?
Yeah, a breaking pitch down and out of the zone, but a 3-2 count, and Valet with 2 strikes just trying to protect, and hits a flaring line drive the other way into shallow right field. And GCIT happy to play station to station here, holding the runner at third, and now the bases are loaded.
That one is grounded out to short, picked up, throw to second, throw to first, is in time. Are you kidding me? 3 innings in a row, and the bases have been left loaded as they rolled a double play, 6-4-3, and you can now make that 11 base runners left on for GCIT. Just got a feel for them at this point. We're through 4, 1-0 Pirates.
Doubleheader reached first on an error in the first at-bat of Game 2. This one's lined into center field. Slider going over. He dives. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. Ryan Slider makes the catch. Not on a slide, but instead on a dive. 2 away.
What a game this has been. If you're GCIT, I don't know what to say. I mean, 11 base runners left on, 3 straight innings with the bases loaded. The clutch gene has been in full effect for Cinnaminson today. They have rolled the double play to end the inning, and now they bat 9-1-2, a good combo of Rittler, Hamill, and Allison Droney here in the top of the 5th. As Hans, still the pitcher, dribbler over the middle off the 9 spot, running in for the play is Sumek, and he got him. A nice ranging play to the left there by Ben Sumek, who picks up the first out of the 5th. And that is the first out. So that'll bring up Logan Hamill, who, the catcher, again, this has been a little bit of a weird spot for catchers. He bats leadoff. Jake Sharrow for Pittman did that earlier this year. He batted in the leadoff spot. I think Ty Koblenz of Woodstown also did that at one point when we covered them. But listen, high school catchers are not JT Realmuto. They are not. They're a lot more nimble. They're a lot quicker. And by the time you're in high school as a catcher, you're not. Your knees haven't been turned to dust yet. There's a fly ball out to right, and it's foul. And that's why a lot of times you see catchers being kind of dubbed as the slowest position in baseball, because they can't really run that fast. And catchers who run fast, well, not a lot of them exist. JT Realmuto might be one of the only ones I can think of. And at the high school level, you've got Ty Koblenz down here. You've got Logan Hamill. Again, there's some guys who can just do that. Back when Lamar Best was at Willingboro, he was a good, fast catcher. So there's a lot of good opportunities, but sometimes have your trust in the guys. And if you're Alex Indian, first-year head coach, sometimes got to get a little creative.
Well, I also think, too, that the catcher position, regardless of if you're looking at the MLB and the professional level, college baseball, and then even at the high school level, they're just more athletes that want to catch. I think that.
Oh, hold on here. Ground ball at the third. Picked up by Mike Mason. Throw to first. A beautiful stretch at first. Almost a banana split, and that's out number 2. As Hamill, the leadoff man, is retired. That'll bring up Allison Droney, the DH, now the pitcher in the ball game. He stays in the game uninterrupted, and he's 0 for 2. 2 flyouts, 1 to left and 1 to center to his record today.
An excellent stretch there by Valet at first base on a bang-bang play. Goes GCIT's way, and the Cheetahs need something to go their way. So at least they have that call going for them as they're still trying to search for their first run of the ball game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, GCIT, I don't know what to say about them. I mean, they have played a very good ball game in every other aspect than hitting with runners in scoring position. If they just had that, they would be in a way better position because, I mean, there's no other way to sugarcoat it. I mean, you know, as high school commentators or as commentators covering high school athletics, your job is to be on the nicer side. You know, we are not Tom McCarthy and John Kruk. These players are not getting paid $30 million. They're not even being paid 30 cents. These players are here to advance their careers, so our job is not to put them down. But as a team, you know, we can kind of say that 11 runners left on for GCIT is just not what you want. It's not a situation that you want to be in, and for GCIT, that 0 on the scoreboard on the bottom left of your screen, that speaks 1,000 words.
Well, and that's not a reflection of one player. That's just
It's
a reflection of the lineup today.
That one's hit out towards center field. The wind is going to keep this one in the ballpark, and pretty handily so. The inning is over. 1-2-3, Hahn with a scoreless 5th, and in an unusual ball game made of unusual circumstances, we go to the bottom of the 5th here at Alcyon, 1-0 Cinnaminson.
Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
Bottom of the 5th inning, 1-0 Cinnaminson, as Allison Droney in his second inning, or his first full inning of work. As Cinnaminson went down in order, Allison Droney was the last out of the 5th, so we didn't have to go too far. Off the top half, that is. Ryan Murphy, he'll be followed by Sumek and Perquoni. As there's a ground ball out to short, sliding over. Beautiful play at shortstop by the Richmond commit, Noah Harvey. That's the first out of the bottom half, as Murphy is retired to start that inning.
And Allison Droney has done a much better job, at least to this point, of pitching to contact, letting the defense work behind him, and just trying to get ahead in counts, pounding the zone, or as you saw with Melchior, trying to work around hitters and gave up, almost, I believe, 8 walks in this one. But
total was 8, yeah.
but he was able to get out of a couple hard jams as GCIT is still held scoreless.
And that GCIT dugout is getting louder, but if not through restlessness, it might just be through true frustration. They understand what's been going on. You know, it's 3 straight innings with the bases loaded, and you don't score. If you get one, that's another thing, but 3 straight innings with the same result and 0 runs on the board doesn't make anybody in that dugout feel good. But they've got to have a short-term memory here. There's still plenty of time. There's, in the bottom of the 5th, you've got 8 outs left, and you've got somebody warming up in the pen too. Maybe an opportunity to turn the tides, as it's 3-2.
Well, and again, I mean, you touched on it a little bit. They just have to go one pitch at a time right now. I mean, they can't try and make these at-bats feel like too much.
And there's a swing and a miss. Allison Droney picks up his first strikeout. The pitcher in the bullpen looks like it's Nick Miller. So Miller, who originally was in the game as, let's see here, he was the left fielder. So because GCIT is batting, they have the opportunity to let him go a little bit. But there is Perquoni at the dish. He's in the hole, and he's warming up in the bullpen. So if these guys get 2 runners on, he might have to scurry from the bullpen very quickly. However, it's 0-2. Allison Droney already set, working fast, kicks and delivers. Got him! They are going to say he went around and a sword to cap it off as the streak ends for GCIT. However, their scoring still continues to stay low. As we go to the 6th here in Pittman, still 1-0 Cinnaminson. Top of the 6th inning, this broadcast is brought to you by Garden State Pet Center. Keep your pet happy and healthy with the most organic food products available in South Jersey today. Along with toys, food, cages, accessories, and much more, you can visit 7 days a week at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon. And also, all commercials you see on this broadcast today are filmed, edited, recorded, and produced by our wonderful friends and our wonderful crew. All funds for commercials go towards either my college fund. I'm a 19-year-old freshman at Rowan College of South Jersey, and we are a good developmental ground for high school and collegiate commentators looking to get their footing, as that one is going to be a 2-0 count. If you're a small business owner interested in advertising with Dan Wilkins Broadcasting and helping us with travel funds or any kind of equipment expenses, you can send us an email at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. That email's in the description of this video. And with an advertising inquiry, we'll send you with a flyer with information on how to get your name in the advertising game in front of over 100,000 annual viewers on YouTube. 3-0 is the count. Strike right down the pipe to Harvey. Feels like we just got put into a wind tunnel here. They open up the windows to get a little bit more air, but Harvey now, again the commit to Richmond, the Division I program, laces this one out to left field, and it's caught by Nick Miller, who very well could be the next pitcher in the ball game. Like we said, he was pitching in the bullpen down the left field line, and he was, well, to put it kindly, he was in the hole. So if one more batter came up for GCIT, he would have had to scurry out of the pen, but he did not.
Well, and Hahn has pitched well to this point, probably has a bit of a high pitch count because we're just so deep into this game, but he's pitched well here, has just the one run all the way back in the top of the first, and that came on a pass ball. So, jinx, I mean, we said that in sync there, but he's pitched fantastic here today and had a loose leash and gotten the job done pretty much for GCIT. The offense, though, has just not been able to help out his cause on the mound.
Yeah, we were talking about during the break, if that passed ball does not happen, we're talking about a very different ball game. There have been no RBIs in this game. The only run that came in was on a passed ball, and that's it. And it was in the top of the first inning, relatively low-stakes spot. It's just been very odd to see this game unfold. Ooh, strike 3 called on the outside corner to Crisp. For Hahn, he picks up, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strikeouts on the afternoon. As we are an hour 45 into this one, and Jacob DeJoseph is the batter.
Joseph talking with
NJN. Yeah, I think the thing about Alex NJN is that he is a former assistant at Cherry Hill West and coaching a very big school, and then going down a rung, going to a Group 2 school that, honestly, if Cinnaminson lost maybe 100 kids, maybe they would be Group 1. I mean, they are one of the smaller Group 2s out there. I've seen some larger Group 2s like Seneca, and Bordentown is a big Group 2, and so is Delran. But, there's Group 2 is one of those things where you're not big enough to be a big school, but you're not small enough to be a small school. They're right in the middle. But 2-0 now to Joseph. But for NJN now coming in to this program relatively late, as there's a swing and a miss. I think he was only approved as a head coach in January, so he only had about a 2-month turnaround before he had to go in and coach an entirely new group of players. 2-1. From Hahn to DeJoseph. That is laced out to center field. It will drop for a base hit, and the sophomore DeJoseph looks to be the key to adding on insurance for Cinnaminson here.
And a 2-out base hit there keeps the inning alive, and insurance would be huge here for the Cinnaminson Pirates, especially because GCIT has had all the opportunities in the world. They need just one swing, and we are looking at a totally different ball game. A couple runs to help your cause as you get later in this game can't hurt if you're Cinnaminson.
Absolutely not. Hahn facing the left-hander. Strike call. Now, Jake, when you played at Sterling, you also dealt with a coaching change from 2022. It was Chris Hoffman. Then you went to the Sterling TV teacher, Tad Kozanowski, in 2023. How does it affect the roster, especially if you're going from, Kozanowski was in-house, but in this case, it's a outside hire to go from NJN, who was at Cherry Hill West, now moves to Cinnaminson. What was it like for you when you went from Hoffman to Kozanowski? How did that affect the team in the early going?
Well, I think that when they made the change over at Sterling, we had a lot of guys graduate. So right. Hoffman went out, and Coach K came in, and we had a lot of guys, myself included, really come up to the varsity level, a lot of juniors, a lot of sophomores, and we're seeing a lot of that Sterling core that got experience as sophomores 2 years ago, playing well now straight as seniors this year. But hiring as an outside coach, somebody that most guys aren't that familiar with, it was definitely different than what happened when I was playing at Sterling. At least I had a great relationship with Coach K, with working with the TV and he was also a baseball coach, but bringing in somebody outside and so late into the year definitely has to be a challenge.
Popped up to short, and it'll be called off by the third baseman, Mason. And the inning is over. Cinnaminson leaves the runner on, and now going to the bottom of the 6th here at Pittman. Man, this is a weird game. GCIT has the opportunity with one swing to turn it around, though. 1-0.
Launches one foul. See, Mostero's doing us a service here. Or, excuse me, D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro is doing us a service here. He's letting us have this conversation by having a long at-bat. But a lot of people are still caught up in the D1 or bust mentality. Listen to this crowd. Listen to this crowd. We'll talk about that later. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Clapping it up here for the Roadrunners. 2-2.
Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! 3-run homer! D'Alessandro! And it's a 1-run game at the crack of the bat, 5-4. 3-run shot to center field. Trailing towards the right center, and the cleanup man does exactly what the position orders, cleaning up. And he does it incredibly well with a 5-4 game. He battles for 11 pitches. And
Bottom of the 6th inning, Cinnaminson 1, GCIT 2 here at Alcyon Park, the picturesque ballpark that for yet another year will be the host of the Diamond Classic final. But here in the hometown tournament, very big crowd today. We got here an hour and a half before game time at 9:30, and I still had to park in the secondary lot because of how far away and how limited parking was here. As there's a strike called, 1-1. I was very surprised just because there's a Little League game going on behind us. Some spots seem to be freeing up, but yeah, this reminds me very much of the Ralph Shaw tournament a little bit back at Audubon. You know, I covered that for the last 4 years, and it's just so interesting, you know, the community coming together for a weekend and being able to experience some very good baseball here. But 3 games being played at Alcyon Park. Gateway played Pittman last night. Pittman shut them out 4-0 on a complete game from Aiden Stranahan, which will help them today in the championship at 1:30 because, well, they're only going to be down 1 pitcher. They can still throw Rue, they can still throw Watson, they can still throw the left-handed freshman Kieran Clark, they can throw a handful of guys out there. So they can be a lot more, yeah, sorry about that, I was confused what was going on in the Cinnaminson dugout. They can have a lot more leniency with their pitching selection today.
Well, and I think it's a major advantage because regardless of the winner of this game,
as a dribbler out the third, foul.
But regardless of the winner of this game, Pittman only has to play 1 game today.
Yep.
Whoever wins this game is playing a back-to-back for a doubleheader, and the fatigue that sets in of trying to play 14 whole innings of baseball and having your best stuff for all 14, especially with how close that this game is right now between these 2 teams, Pittman has the advantage because they got their win last night and have been well rested and, to your point, Dan, only used the 1 arm.
Outside, only 1 pitching change for Cinnaminson today, but I think it would have been better, if you ask me. It would have been better, in my personal opinion, to see this game played at, oh, hold on here, that's a fair ball, third base side, and a base hit. GCIT picks up a single off the bat of Rosas. With nobody out, we've got a leadoff base runner. What I was going to say was that, as Miller comes up to bat, what's the conference here?
Well, and the umpires are going to talk. I'm not exactly.
Eppley is out too.
I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but regardless, the way it stands right now, a swinging bunt there for Rosas. Didn't really barrel that one up, but just pushed it away from the pitcher, the catcher, and the third baseman playing back. And it looks like he's going to come back. I guess I would have to guess that it hit off of his foot and hit him in the box, and so therefore they're going to make him do it again. But that'll reset the count at 3-2.
You know what? You might be right on that. I'm going to look back at my footage here. I think it did hit his foot, but the umpires didn't make any call. I'm just surprised that they overturned that. So count will now be 3-2. He might get a hit anyway. There's a ground ball to short. And actually, he will be out at first. So Rosas is retired. I'm sure GCIT will want that one back. And 1 away.
A slow chopper up the middle there, and Harvey, a lot of fire coming out of that right arm. Put some extra mustard on it across the diamond for the first out of the inning.
Absolutely. And now Miller, the batter, trying to get anything to go his way. He's had an 0 for 2 game today, strikeout and a pop out to second. And again, even that call getting overturned was going to be an infield single. And what does it turn into? It turns into a ground out. It's just been bad luck after bad luck for GCIT today. They have pitched an extremely good game. Zach Hahn has been electric, 5 strikeouts, and some good defense behind him. One thing to note is that there's only been 1 error on each side today, which, you know, for high school standards, not bad. And the defense has been pretty sound on both sides. So, swing and a miss there. Count is 2-2. Lineup will turn over to Michael Mason, the third baseman, next with 1 away in the bottom of the 6th. GCIT finally looking to get on the board. That is a swing and a miss. Allison Droney strikes him out. That is his second in relief. And it's the second out as we turn the lineup card back over to Mike Mason.
And since Allison Droney has come into this one, a lot less action on the bases for GCIT. Melchior walked a couple hitters, hit another few, but Allison Droney is doing a good job of attacking hitters and letting the defense make the plays behind him, as now there's going to be a little conference over at third base.
Yeah, just a quick hitter meeting here. That's something that's unique about high school, is the fact that you have those meetings between the third base coach and the batter. Usually the coach in a professional setting just puts up his signs, does whatever, does the Macarena, and then, you know, he says, all right, do what you got to do. Fouled back, look out. But, you know, in high school, sometimes signs don't convey everything. So in a big situation, bases empty, 2 outs, but the tying run is at the plate with the leadoff man, might be important for him to go ahead and have that conversation instead of trying to communicate through, you know, sign language.
Well, also, too, especially the deeper that we get into this game, don't want to miss a sign over there at third base. Better to just check up with the coach than miss the sign and get yelled at afterwards for it.
1-2. There's a swing and a miss. Allison Droney fired up, and the side is retired. We are through 6, and this has been a funky game from start to finish, as it's Cinnaminson 1, GCIT 0 after 6. Top of the 7th, Cinnaminson and GCIT in a odd battle, but Pittman making their way back to the dugouts as they prepare for their championship game. I would imagine with potential rain on the way, we've already seen rain today in a large capacity. What we're looking at now in the updated forecast is that there's a good chance of thunderstorms from 3 to 5 p.m., an 80% chance of rain in about 15 minutes. And then from that until 5 p.m., it looks like we're going to have some thunderstorms. So at the moment, we're good, but that could very well change. So if you're Pittman and you have to wait this out, you don't know how bad the rain's going to be. It could be an inch of rain. It could be a quarter inch of rain. Really could be a litany of different things. So I don't know how they're going to approach this. Either way, though, the new pitcher for GCIT will be the former left fielder for the Cheetahs, that being Nick Miller. In the game now in left is Carter Felder taking over for him. So quick swap there. The final line for Zach Hahn. No earned runs. He has now his third unearned run, and his ERA will actually go below 0.54, but the run came in on a passed ball, which is not earned, as it's credited to the catcher. Now, that could very well change depending on if the scorekeeper calls it a wild pitch or a passed ball. If it's a wild pitch, it's earned. If it's a passed ball, it's not. 3-1. Swing and a miss there by McAndrew.
And Miller,
Sarnowski.
in just 8 2/3 innings pitched, an ERA north of 5.
Fouled back. And it's Sarnowski, Bobrek, and Rittler in the top half of the 7th inning. 7, 8, and 9, and that might be the batters that Miller wants to face. The bottom of the order, you don't get up to the big guns in Hamill and Harvey, and unless you get in base runners on, if you keep a clean 7th, they won't have to worry about them. And this, they do not. That is another walk, the first for Sarnowski today, as now that will bring up Bobrek, who had the first and one of just 2 hits for Cinnaminson on the board, with a base hit that eventually turned into interference in the bottom half of the 2nd inning.
And a leadoff walk there for Cinnaminson. They're looking to try and extend this lead.
Outside, Mike Mason trailing way in on 3rd, expecting a bunt. Bobrek, the only freshman in the lineup for Cinnaminson today. He is 1 for 2, 3 for 14 on the season, 2 RBIs, a 214 average, and a 286 slugging percentage. Mason, again, way in at 3rd. You can see not even going back to home base, just staying right there, and he's going to move further in. Let's see if he moves in again here. Now he's backpedaling a little bit.
Well, the hitter didn't square.
He hasn't squared up at all.
Last time. He squared the first time around.
Now he does. Did that hit him? No, they're going to say it hit the catcher's glove pop-off. Now getting down to 2nd is going to be Sarnowski. It's an odd play there. I almost thought it hit Bobrek, but it did not, according to the home plate umpire. And now Sarnowski will get in the scoring position on a wild pitch.
Yeah, ran way inside there on the hitter. Miller just got to calm down, try and find the strike zone. Already gave up a walk. Now the rest of the infield will come in to have a chat, but a runner in scoring position with nobody away here for Cinnaminson. A good spot to be if you're the Pirates, especially with a thin lead on the scoreboard just by 1 run.
Like we said, we came into this game thinking that with the rain, with the elements, things could really be a whirlwind, but a 1-0 game that the only run of the game came in the 1st inning on a passed ball. Again, that is an unearned run for Zach Hahn, so an ERA of 0.54 will get even lower after 6 innings. Miller, the left fielder, is in. Remember, whoever wins this game will play Pittman. Their players are gathering here, and whoever loses this game will take the bus trip down the road onto Linden Avenue to the Joe Lang Field. That's a bunt. Finally squaring up with it. Battle for the same real estate. Throw to first is in time. A miscommunication there between Miller and Popoff. Both went to pick up the bunt, but Popoff was the one who recorded the out. A 2-3 sacrifice, and there's 1 away.
Definitely a miscommunication there, but regardless, getting the out. Well played by both teams. Cinnaminson gets a runner on 3rd with less than 2 outs and has a great chance to score here. And for GCIT, they get the free out on the sacrifice over at 1st for their much-needed 1st out of the inning, and now the infield will creep in trying to make the play at the plate.
So the loser of this game will play Gateway. The winner will play Pittman, as this will be an interesting battle nonetheless. As we're in the top of the 7th, Cinnaminson leads 1-0. Their only run of the game came in the 5th batter of the ball game with 2 outs in the top of the 1st. we saw a passed ball bring the runner home. Only 2 hits for Cinnaminson. GCIT has 4. It's 6 total today, as it has been an unusual game, brood of unusual circumstances, as the 1-1 on the way. Hit down the right field line, that will trickle foul towards the soccer pitch. 1-2. Rittler, the batter. Rittler in the 9 spot, 0 for 2. A line out to third, or rather line out to first in his first at bat, and then a ground out to short. Rittler, the senior, as we said, batting south of the 200 line. 1 ball, 2 strikes from the left fielder now, pitcher Miller. Ground ball. Runner breaks, now holds from third, and a heads-up play by Michael Mason, having to juggle many things at once. He checked on the runner at third, made sure that he wasn't going to go, and then fired it to first. Barely by the skin of his teeth, picks up a 5-3 ground out. And now we've got the top of the order, Logan Hamill, with 2 down.
Well, and even with the slow chopper and the infield playing in, Mason has to make a tough play. The runner at third initially breaks, and he gets the out at first just in time. Exactly what GCIT was looking for right there, keeping that runner at third and getting the out at first.
And not only that, but you're also dealing with a fast Rittler out of the box. So the fact that they got the out there, Mason has to quick check his head to first, or check his head to third, make sure that Zarnowski was not going to go, and then was able to get the out anyway. So, I mean, that's just a very heads-up play. Not every infielder can do that. Not every infielder can multitask in the way of, picking up the ball on a bunt and then, not on a bunt, on a ground out, and then firing his head to third, then has to fire the ball to first and make sure that they're okay. That one's outside. Count is 3-1 here to Hamill. He reached on an error to lead off the ball game, but has since been, he's actually 0 for 3. The error, fly out, and a ground out. Here's the 3-1. Dribbled foul. Barely got contact off the end of the barrel.
And for Miller on the mound, if you can get a much-needed out here to try and get the bats back in the dugout and keep this a 1-run game, it's very doable for GCIT.
Oh, wow. The runner walks now. The throw to third is in time. Oh, my goodness. They caught the runner napping at third base, and they backpick on ball 4. And we will go to the bottom half of the 7th. This game has been just pure wizardry. 1-0, Cinnaminson.
One nothing Red Bank. Now here is Al D'Elia. The man they used to call Big Al has now slimmed down, and he still hits dingers. He went viral in 2018 for his catchphrase during the Little League World Series when he was introduced by the ESPN camera crews and was given his standard introduction. He said, "Hi, my name's Big Al, and I hit dingers." And that sentiment still holds true today. He had his first career high school home run versus Rumson Fairhaven in their opening game of the campaign last week. There's a swing and a miss, 0-2. But D'Elia, kind of a folk hero for baseball players who just want to hit the ball far and have fun while doing it. The poster child now is the poster big fella. Fly ball right center field. This is going to be a sac fly. Taken in by Terranova, and Big Al might not hit dingers, but he certainly drives in runs. It's 2-0.
Bottom of the 7th, do or die time for GCIT as they look for a chance at the gold medal or at best bronze, as we'll be in the, well, I should say not at best bronze. They could still lose to Gateway. I don't know, but right now, again, the loser of this game travels across the busway and across the park, not just across the park, across town to Joe Lang Field as an unusual end to the top half of the 7th got things in motion. Here's Willie Popoff. Did not hit him on the first pitch. They say it ran inside. And for GCIT, a team that has left 11 runners on base, including 3 straight innings of leaving the bases loaded, they now look to turn the tide after being held to the minimum in the 5th and 6th. That one is down from Allison Droney. Players are jumping up and down in the GCIT dugout looking for that spark. Here's the pitch to Popoff. Outside, no, called a strike. 2-1.
And what you just said, 11 runners left on base and getting 8 free passes with walks, but they're still right in this game. The dugout is electric right now for GCIT, and all they need are a couple good swings of the bat, a couple good at-bats, and they can walk this one off in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Ground ball for Popoff, picked up by Harvey. Clean throw, clean play, first out. If you're Pittman, you're looking at this Cinnaminson team, and I think that these are the guys that, probably will make the best game. GCIT and Pittman, I think GCIT, even for Pittman standards, might be a little bit overpowering, but Popoff now 1 for 4. Make that Andrew Valle now. Again, the right-handed pitcher but center fielder today, or rather first baseman. He's the first baseman in today's game. He committed to Notre Dame just a couple of months ago, hits low 90s on the fastball, and a big swing and a miss, 1-1. I would not be shocked if Valle, win or lose, starts game 2. That one is ripped down the right field line and foul. 1-2. Valle, 2 for 3. 2 singles to his credit today.
When he's had a couple big swings of the bat, the big swing and miss, and then the foul ball was late on that one, trying to tie the game with 1 swing.
He still can tie the game with 1 swing, I'll tell you that, but might not be what GCIT wants. On the other side of the coin, though, here's the 2-2. Up and in. Kicks that one out in front of the mound. There's a little stare down there. And it's 3-2.
Well, and how about that for intensity? A pitch misses upstairs, and Valle let Alessandro.
He let him know it. That's a base hit in the center field. He responds in the right way with a base hit back up the middle. He's got 3 now. And now the tying run is on, and Phil Murphy, the right fielder, will bat. And Rob Eppolite talking to the home plate umpire. I'm not sure what it would be about, but rain starting to come in a little bit more here as, well, the rain, in addition to the fact that the wind is blowing in here, makes for a bit of a conundrum, but either way, again, I'm just not sure what the complaint is. The home plate umpire's kind of got his arms up.
Well, you mentioned the wind, and that right now doesn't help GCIT. You have the heart of your order up, the guys that are looking to swing for power and hit gap to gap, but with the wind blowing in, it makes it that ball will carry just a little bit less. However, they have a base runner on with 1 away, and 4, 5, and 6 potentially due up in this inning.
So Eppolite still walking over to the first base umpire. Talking to Valle here.
They told Valle to go into the dugout. I don't know if they're making a substitution for a pinch runner.
Well, Valle is the first baseman, so courtesy runners can only be to the pitcher and the catcher. I wonder if Valle hurt himself because he took off his wristband, he dropped it there.
Dropped the index card, but
yeah,
nobody right now is headed out
I'm not
first, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on right now.
I think that this being on short notice, they're going to try and find a runner, and they will send somebody out there. That will be, let's see here, that'll be is that 29? Yeah, that's 29, Green Stefan, who is the freshman. Who has 2 at-bats this year, but I would imagine that because it's not a pitcher or a catcher, it has to be a substitution and not a pinch runner. So I wonder if Valle was hurt, but even for a pinch runner, I don't understand if what the commotion was.
Well, in the substitution rules, Valet can come back into the game. The starters can re-enter once, so maybe looking for a bit more speed on first base with your backs being against the wall here if you're GCIT, and if extras come along, they can bring Valet back in.
I'm just saying something had to be amiss of some kind, because in any other situation, Valet comes out, Green Stefan comes in. So what was the deal here that he, had this argument and home plate umpire had his arms up? I'm not sure what the deal was, but that's a ground ball, third base side, picked up deep in the hole at third. Throw across is in time. That's the second out. Green moves into scoring position. Did confirm his first and last name on NJ.com were mixed up, so it is Stephen Green. That's what it is, or Stefan Green.
Boy.
So now it's the left-hander, Ryan Murphy, who bats with 2 outs. Reed Murphy, excuse me. Bottom 7, 2 out, tying run in scoring position. First pitch, hit out to center field. It's shallow, and it's caught. Cinnaminson, in an unusual game of unusual circumstances, pitches their way into the Joe Lang final with a 1-0 win over reigning champions GCIT, as the Cheetahs remain scoreless after leaving 12 runners on base. And as soon as the game ends, things start to come down heavy here at Alcyon Park, as the final score from tonight, Cinnaminson 1, GCIT 0. Again, what an unusual game. Cinnaminson, and the only run in total, came in the top of the first inning on a passed ball, and then GCIT, for 3 straight innings, left the bases loaded. What a weird game. Again, final score tonight, Cinnaminson 1, GCIT 0. Stay tuned for around 1:30, well, it's 1:15 now. Give it 30 or so minutes for Game 2 of the Joe Lang Classic and the Joe Lang Championship between the Cinnaminson Pirates and the Pittman Panthers. Have a good one, folks.